Hey everyone, we're going to do some art journaling today. So this is the book that I use for my art journaling and we're going to go through the process together. Enjoy! Okay, so this is just a notebook that I've got and I wasn't sure how to use it. So what I've done is I have stuck 2 pages together and coated it all with a clear gesso so that we can do stuff on top of it. We're going to start with this texture paste. I absolutely love using modelling paste and texture paste through a variety of stencils, and this is going to give us some place for colour to hang on to later on. So this is the heart spiral die that I've got. It's a stencil, not a die. And you're just going to scrape texture paste through it. You can do a very thin layer or a thick layer, that's completely up to you. You will get different looks depending on how much pressure you put and how much paste you leave on there. Once done, I'm going to scrape the rest off, and then what you want to do with your stencils is you want to put them straight into water. You do not want your texture paste to dry on your stencils because it will fill in all the little gaps. Next I'm going to use a spiderweb one up here, and then you'll see in a second if you end up with texture paste where you don't like it, or if you weren't holding the stencil down enough and some of the texture paste sort of splurted out underneath, you can just use your palette knife like I'm going to just scrape away any bits that you don't want or any bits that ruin the pattern. Now it depends, you might want to do a bit of a collagey, messier piece where you have sections of your stencil showing through. I didn't on this one, I wanted nice neat lines so that when we add the colour you can really see it. Down the bottom here I'm just using some little bubbles on this stencil. We're also going to add some stars, some cogs and a brick wall. So the way I was looking at this project was, when I start to do an art journal, I try and think of the emotions behind it, and I usually work from a sentiment, which we're going to look at in a minute. But what I realised was there's a lot of things at the moment that are stressing me out, and what I wanted to do was get all of those things, smush them together, and then brick it up. Like, stick it all in an alcove, brick it up and forget about it. That was kind of my aim. So we've got all of these smaller little sections, and then I'm going to use the big brick wall. Now I am drying my texture paste just to speed the process along. You don't have to do that. I just didn't want to smudge any of my nice texture paste when I added the next stencil because they were going to touch. So we've got a little bit of cogs up here because that's my brain overthinking everything as always. And then the big section in the middle, we're going to use a sort of brick stencil to sort of symbolise that brick wall that I want to build and lock everything behind. We're again going to let this dry, and then it's going to be time to add some colour. Now as you can see, normally I kind of move this out of the way, but I have left all of my overlays on from Twitch. I made this over on Twitch and there is a lot of fun. You'll see pop-ups, you'll see people's names appears, there are sound alerts you can set off. If you ever want to come and join us on Twitch, please do, because it is so much fun over there. And you can kind of see over on the left you've got the people who are celebrating, who have supported the channel most recently. We've got a little carousel at the bottom of all of my past projects. It's a lot of fun. I'll leave the link in the description. I have this old cardboard box which I use as my spray box, and I'm just using some printer paper as background. Now I made these sprays myself with just a little bit of acrylic paint and some water. Please use distilled water, otherwise you can send everything off mouldy. And you don't want to shake it up and down because the paint or the mica powder, if you use mica powders, get stuck in the tubes. So you want to whiz it around when you shake it. And then you can see there the silver one, it's all settled at the bottom, and then you shake it up and you get the nice mix with the water. If you can't afford to buy sprays, make your own. And then all I'm going to do is spray some colours around. I wanted to go sort of blues, blacks, browns with this. Have it as quite sort of like a deeper colour tone. I often use a lot of purples and reds. And as I'm talking about things that are stressing me out, blue is often associated with sort of depressions, you know, you've got the blues, all of that kind of thing. So that was the colour palette that I wanted to go for. Dry in between each colour, it means you get less of a muddy finish. So I've done the blue, we're going to go in with some black, we're going to go in with a little bit of that silver as well, just to create a background. And then I did something that I've never done before. I decided to use some alcohol inks. Oh, I am in love. Oh, the sprays look lovely over the texture paste, but the alcohol ink, you really see all of the detail. It's so good. So I've just put on a little bit of dark blue, a little bit of light blue, a little bit of brown, and then I'm going to use my air squeezy to just push that around, and we're going to do a few different layers of that to build up the colour. You can do anything you like. You can use sprays, you can use rub-on. I've got little rub-on metallic things that we use sometimes. Down in the bottom left you can see I've got some mousses and glimmers. I ended up not using those because it didn't quite fit the project. But then I thought it needed something else, and some lovely person in chat suggested that I try some gold. Oh, the gold on this page looks so beautiful. It works so well with the blues. And then I did a tiny touch of pink as well. Now, as you'll see, once we zoom in a little bit, you can see how this really falls into all of the textures there. And you just saw someone's name pop up when they first arrive and say something in chat. They get a little wave from the little cat on the screen. As I say, it's a lot of fun over on Twitch. And if you ever want to join us, please feel free. I'll put the link down in the description for you. So I just went through, did a few layers of each colour, basically continuing this process until I liked the finished result. And I had so much fun with these alcohol inks. I can't wait to do this again. I'd never thought of using alcohol inks before. And I was just like, I wonder if they will work. Answer is yes. But the thing to remember, alcohol inks need a non-porous surface. The reason that they worked is because my pages were already covered with gesso. So the gesso has primed it. If you put alcohol ink straight onto standard paper, the paper will just absorb it and you won't be able to spread it around. But because I had gessoed the page, it meant that I could move those alcohol inks around. Once all of that was dry, we started to move on, and as you can see, Magrat came to say hello. Magrat often comes to say hello on Twitch. So does Squdge sometimes, but Magrat is there many, many times per stream. We even have a counter to figure out how many times she appears per stream. She does like to get in the way and get involved, and you can give her pets, and you can use your points to give her some treats and things. So once she'd left, I decided to get some washi tape out. And originally I was just cutting off pieces and sticking them randomly on the page where I liked. And then once I was done a little bit, we went back and sort of cut some of them down, gave them a bit of a jaggedy edge. I tried to cut them on an angle so it looked like I was ripping them. Unfortunately, this houndstooth one is a fabric washi tape, so it's kind of hard to rip. You do have to cut it. And although it is washi tape and it is sticky, I'm just using glue to secure it because there is texture paste and sprays and alcohol inks underneath them, and so you want to give it the best possible chance to not disappear on you. So we did a bit of this houndstooth, and then I went and found another washi tape that was blue, darker blue with some gold elements to it, which worked perfectly with that gold alcohol ink. Now this one I could rip because it is a standard washi tape, so I was just ripping little pieces up and gluing them on. So I just basically went through until I was happy with the design. What I was trying to do was make it a pleasing overall kind of look, because although it is about me being stressed, I wanted this to be sort of the way for me to hide everything. There's another hello. So we did that, and then I was trying to figure out our phrases. We have 3 phrases that I chose to use for this one. As I said at the start, I usually start with the sentiments. These sentiments are all Tim Holtz snarky ones, so I'm going to lay them on my page, and I apologise. The internet dropped and we lost a little bit of footage, but the one at the top says, "I'm sorry, did I roll my eyes out loud?" The one down at the bottom says, "Is your drama going to have an intermission soon?" And then we're going to put one in the middle as well, which says, "Your crazy is showing, you might want to tuck that back in." Those 3 sentiments, as I say, I have the snarky ones from Tim Holtz, and oh, they were how I was feeling. They were genuinely how I was feeling. So we're going to stick the other one in the centre there. I'm just going to cut it in half because it's going to go across where the page fold is. Glue those on, and then we're just going to add a few bits and pieces of decoration. And I really like how this came together actually in the end. I think it came out really, really well. I always struggle with art journaling because I watch other people do it and it just seems like such an effortless process. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point where I trust the process, because I would want it to look perfect from the start. And so it's taken me a long time to get to this point where I was actually happy to go, do you know what? Trust the process, it will finish nicely, and it does. So I'm just using a black pen, fine liner, and a white gel pen to add some details around the sentiments and across the page. So we're sort of doing just like a rough sketchy border around the sentiment panels, some in black and some in white. So usually with black, and then if it goes over a dark patch, we're going to add a little bit of white gel pen. And then I'm going to do some sort of like faux stitching in white just underneath the text, because the sentiment panels there are black. And yeah, I really like this process. I don't like my handwriting, so I've found journaling really difficult in the past, and this is a lovely way to work through those emotions and get some things out without having to do any writing, which is a bonus for me, because I don't like my handwriting. So yeah, we've just gone through, added all of these bits of detailing, and then with my black fine liner, I'm also going to do some little dots around the page, and then we're going to do some paint splashes, which is the most fun to do. I always get in such a mess. My desk is covered. I really should get my spray box out to do the paint splatters, but I always forget, and so I always end up with my desk covered in little splatters of paint. But do you know what? It's worth it because I think it adds so much to the design. And you can do whatever you like. You don't have to do any doodling. You can do lots of doodling. It's completely up to you how you want your page to look, and that's the joy of art journaling. You know, it can be anything or everything. It's entirely up to you. I will show you at the end some of the other pages that I've done just to give you a bit of an idea. So yeah, I'm just adding some little dot textures around. Some of them I went, so this star and one of the hearts I actually went round the texture paste shape with the dots. And then in other places I just did a random little collection of dots, like a little grouping together. So here you can see I'm going around that pink heart with the black dots, which just brings your eye to it. I've then got this mat. It's a Teflon sheet used for cooking, but it works really well because you can put heat on it. Now that pop up there is someone playing a sound over the stream, so you can come and play music at me, make me jump. It works a lot. I've just got some white acrylic paint that I have watered down with just some water, and then I'm using this fan brush, and we are just going to tap that over the page to get some nice white splatters. You want your paint to be fairly runny with this because you want it to fall off nicely off your brush. If it's too thick, you won't get the nice drips that you want. So we're going to do it in white, and then we're going to come back and do exactly the same process again with some black paint, because it gives you that contrast. We've got some light patches where I want to use the black paint, and then we've got those dark blues and those black sections where the white paint shows up beautifully. Now I just use either my hand or in this case a pair of scissors to tap the brush against to get that nice splatter effect. And you can just load up and do this as many times as you like. I would say don't put too much paint on your paintbrush at the same time, otherwise you'll get some really messy splotches. But you know, it's such a beautiful look, and it just gives more texture really, and that's what I love about it. And this is, after doing this many times, is where I realised to trust the process, because these sort of finishing touches bring everything together really well. I apologise if you can hear the cats in the background. They are being a pain today, madam. So once the white is done, we're going to do the same process with the black, and then you'll see in some of those lighter areas the black splotches sort of bring it up as well. You don't have to do this. You can do whatever you like with these. This is the joyful thing. Okay, once everything is done and applied, I'm just going over again with my heat tool just to make sure everything is really nice and dry. I'm going to dry the front of the pages and the back of the pages just to make sure that everything is completely dried and I can put it away without worrying about smudging. However, something was bugging me. I was trying to figure out what it was. It wasn't quite perfect in my head, and I spent a little while wandering around my room trying to think, what do I do? I put the date on. I always date my pieces just so that I've got an idea of when and how I did them. And yeah, then I was desperately trying to find something else to add to it, but we got interrupted. We got interrupted by a magrat. As I said earlier, she does love to come and make her presence known on stream, many times per stream. Sometimes she will settle down next to me and let me get on with things. Other times she will just take up all of the attention, as she should. You know, everyone comes to see the cat, let's be honest. Cat's far more important and more interesting than I am. But while she was there, I did have a little bit of a brainwave, and I thought it's the top left and bottom right corners have that text in, but the other two corners don't have anything, and I realised I wanted something in those corners. I went back to look at some of my other designs just to give me an idea, and I realised I wanted something in those corners to kind of balance the design out, and I was wondering what to do, and then it came to me. I had some chain and some little black I'm not actually sure what they're called. People use them to do the sort of like the insides of flowers when you make your own flowers. And I have them in a few different colours. And so I thought I'd get the black ones out because there's a black splodge in the top corner. So I wanted to add a black something in the bottom corner. And then I wanted to add a little bit of chain. However, my chain was slightly tangled. And so we had a little bit of fun with Magrat. And yeah, I thought you'd enjoy seeing it, so I've left it in for you to see how she reacted to that chain.
Right, cheeky. Well, that shows you're feeling a bit better. If you're going to actually play. You're really not helping me unravel this, but as long as you're having fun. Here's you, madam. It's up here, Dove Cat. It's up here. You see what I have to put up with? Yeah, the check doesn't seem to be working at the moment, which is really annoying. Where are we? 3 hours 14. 3 hours 14. You are so funny, my kitten. You are so funny.
Okay, so when I managed to disengage her from the chain eventually, I cut some little pieces off. You can just see in that top corner, just cut a little link, maybe 5 or 6 links. I just wanted something little in the corner just to draw your eye to the corners through the design. And I'm literally just going to put on a thick layer of my art glitter glue, and then I'm going to lay the chain on it and just leave it there to dry. Chain fell down the middle of the page there, it nearly hid from me. And I'm literally just placing it in the glue. So I'm just using my glue pin to put it in the right position, and it's quite a thick layer of glue, but art glitter glue dries clear, so I know that this will secure it and it will end up being completely clear, so you'll still see the chain and the shine, and it worked really, really well. So I'm just positioning it in the right place. We did one in this corner, one in the bottom corner, and then I also added some little those flower bits in the bottom corner. There is me just neatening everything up. And then down in the bottom you can also see there's that black blob. I did try and quickly dry the glue as much as I could using my heat gun. It's not going to dry it completely, but it meant I could manoeuvre the page around without it worrying that everything was going to fall off. I think it came out really well. Again, just dried from the back to make sure that bottom bit of glue is getting some heat as well. And then finished. There's a little close-up on some of the texts. On 3 of the texts really, and yeah, I really like how this came out. I think it really did encapsulate, with the ripping of the washi tape as well, me ripping up all of my problems and then bricking them up and not having to worry about them, because that's what this piece was really about, was trying to process the emotions, the things that are stressing me out, and get them on paper so that they were out of my head. And so effectively bricking them up in this art journal page means I have less to worry about. I'm not going to say that it's a perfect solution, but it does help get out some of those emotions. And I really do see a benefit when I do some art journaling. So I think it came out really nicely. Let me know what you think. And so I thought I'd just quickly do a quick show of some of the older designs that I've done in this book. These aren't in order, I just opened to a random page. So this one is the Forever Autumn, which is a song from War of the Worlds, which is a song I'd like played at my funeral. So I just did some of that sort of autumnal colour sploshing with some leaves. Then we have, what's the next one we're going to go to? This one we did a Tree of Lifestyle design, and the sentiments there are about being one with nature essentially. I really like that tree stencil. And then we've got this one, which was about being very childish and not having a lot of responsibilities and enjoying life, and it has my favourite sentiment at the bottom: not my circus, not my monkeys fly, because we all know I'm the witch. Paper witch, actually, if you ask Twitch. And then we've got this one, which is one of the first ones I did. It just says, hold on, let me overthink this, which is just, it's me to a T. I overthink everything. I'm a definite overthinker. Are you? And then this one was about being heartbroken and being let down by people who trusted me. As you can see, you've got the keys and the chains and things, and that's the sort of design of that one. Let me know what you think of them. Yeah, I do really enjoy art journaling. I think it's really therapeutic. Anywho, that is all from me today, peoples. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know, have you done art journaling? Will you try it now? Which one of my designs that I showed you there have you liked the most? And what was your favourite thing about this particular project? Yeah, that's all from me. Take care of yourself and I'll see you on the next one. Keep crafting. Bye!